something a little bit more positive. What we've been growing. And it's snowing today, so we haven't been growing anything outdoors because it's snowing. I was just listening to the Living Free in Tennessee podcast, and she's talking about getting ready to go outside and plant seeds soon.
Yes, I'm very jealous of all the people that I see on Facebook and some of the other social media platforms I'm on saying, we're going outside and planting. I'm like, that's not happening for a couple more months up here at least.
Yep. So our next big plan for gardening and growing our own food is to, we got one debt we're going to pay off in the next couple of weeks. Once that one's paid off, we're going to go to the an old metal shed that Sarah already had when we got married and I moved in. We're going to turn that into a chicken coop, and we're going to put a run between it and the other shed, so the chickens can stay in the chicken coop. They can go out in the run, and it'll protect them from predators. It'll be an electro net designed for chickens, and then we're going to put 90 degrees off the chicken coop another set of electro net, and that's where we're going to garden, and we can grow the food in there, and it'll protect it from rabbits and groundhogs. We got a ton of rabbits and groundhogs.
You would not believe how many rabbits and groundhogs we have out here.
If we just start trapping rabbits, as long as the neighbors aren't all doing it, we're not going to starve to death. There's like a bazillion of them, and they reproduce like rabbits.
Imagine that.
So that's the old school victory garden thing they would use in World War II. So something else I just bought the stuff the other day to start doing, because we were asked about growing indoors. Let me grab some of the parts here. Is a system called Crack Key Aquaponics. Hydroponics. So you just take a regular mason jar, wide mouth. This is a
grow net.
I'm going to see a 3-inch, maybe a 4-inch grow net. It's whatever fits inside of a mason jar. That's what size it is. You take the grow solution, the hydroponic solution. This one is the grow formula. Any of the grow formula ones, which way do I need to go?
There you go.
Any of the grow formula ones. This one's a 612. That's nitrogen, potassium.
216.
216 is what it is. Nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. I think that's the order the numbers are in. But anyway, you mix up a little bit of that into the water. You put it in here. But before you do that, you want to start your seed. You can buy all this stuff off of Amazon. I just went up to the place because we live near Michigan. I just drove up to the place where the guys that grow weed buy their stuff. So this thing, I bought this whole mat. There's a price tag on here somewhere, or at least there was.
Right here.
Oh. So $14 for this whole thing. These are like 40 cents, these net cups. And the grow solution, I was like
$14.
$14-ish. So you just take one of these cubes. You put it in a bowl or on a plate so it stays wet. And there's a little hole in the top. And you just put like a couple lettuce seeds in there. Then once the lettuce seeds start to grow in here, you fill the net cup full of those expanded clay pellets. I wish we had some handy. But those go in there, and then you put this in there.
They're little light terracotta colored pellets that are about the size of a small marble, but they don't weigh anything.
They're mostly air.
Yeah.
And what that does is it soaks up the water and the grow solution and provides it for the plant. And then as the plant grows its roots out, if a plant grows its roots into water, it won't get enough air to the roots and it'll die. So what you would normally do in an aquaponics system is you flood the system, and then you let all the water drain out, then you flood it again, and that requires hydroponics. Same aquaponics, hydroponics, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, you flood and drain. With the Crack Key system, it was designed to use without any electricity or hardware pumps, or any hardware like that in third world countries. So as the water level gets used by the plant and evaporates out of here, it'll drop, and allow the roots to have more and more air. And it'll actually grow two different types of roots. It'll grow roots that like the water, and it'll grow roots that like to be more in air. I've never done it before, but I've watched a bunch of videos and podcasts, and this is going to be, I think, a great way to grow a little bit of food and a little bit of nutrients. Yes, hydroponics involves, aquaponics involves fish. I've experimented with a little bit with aquaponics in the past. But this little system will provide us with a little bit of fresh herbs and a little bit of lettuce. We're going to put some custom shelves in front of the window in the kitchen to grow stuff on. And Thomas wants
A guinea pig.
a guinea pig. Some sort of rat. And we're going to put a shelf or two in his window so he can grow some food for his fluffy rat.
His edible rodent.
Yeah. Something we've done in the past, and we're going to experiment more in the future. Let me grab this without getting too wet. We had this guy outside, so it filled full of water and froze. But these are ice trays.
Oh,
So
yeah, ice cube trays
So
from Walmart.
yeah, so you take the ice cubes and pour them in here and keep this in your freezer from Walmart. Well, this just happens to, I think it's on this lip right here, or is it on this?
I don't remember.
One of these two lips just happens to fit perfectly inside of an aquarium, and it has those expanded clay pebbles in the bottom and holes drilled into it, so it can soak the water up into the potting soil in the top. Now, we experimented with this before, and the problem is the plants didn't get enough light. So we're going to build a stand, a nice pretty stand, to hide some grow lights above it, because you don't want the grow lights growing in your eyes, or shining in your eyes, because it's really bad for them. And we're also going to set a timer so they only run when everybody's asleep, so we won't have to deal with it. If the light from grow lights, because I've had some grow lights in another room next to the bedroom before, and just the light coming in underneath the door kept me from being able to sleep very well. So we want to run them in the living room. Well,
when everybody's awake.
Yep. No,
Asleep.
when everybody's asleep, so nobody
Okay.
will look at it. But we're going to have them covered so the light won't shine directly. It'll shine down onto the plants, so it won't leak underneath everybody's doors and keep everybody awake. So we're planning on, in the near future, doing some more experimenting with that to grow some moderate amount of stuff in there. You want to talk to him about the air stuff first?
The air stuff.
The air quality from growing plants.
Oh, and growing stuff in, like, if Thomas wants the guinea pig, he can grow lettuce in his room for the guinea pig, and that will help, growing stuff in the house will also help use up some of the yuckiness that just happens from living in your house for the plants, and hopefully, help with teenage boy rooms.
Just dropped one of our props. So this is a little net thing we bought. You can just take a screen and put it over a mason jar. But this goes on top of a mason jar, and you put your seeds in here. You fill them up, soak them, turn it over, and it's for growing sprouts. We had pretty good luck with pea sprouts in it. Basically, after we soaked them for 24 hours, we'd rinse them twice a day, and I'd swirl it around and shake it to get as much water out as I could, because in the past we've had mold problems.
Yeah. One thing growing sprouts we did have luck with was chia seeds. I sprouted some chia seeds on terracotta. I just did a little terracotta plate that I had from my flower pot. And it worked really, really well. And they cleaned up off of the terracotta plate rather nicely. So, it was as far as I'm concerned, it was a success. And I would do it again. And that just helps add sprouts and things like that, just help add some dense nutrients to our food to make sure that we're getting the maximum amount of nutrients when we eat, just for healthy eating purposes.
We store a lot of beans and rice and noodles and stuff like that, which is good calories, but there's not a lot of nutrition in there. So canning and growing indoors is going to add some flavor and some nutrition to those stored foods, and flavor and nutrition to our everyday diet. Now, I have on the channel another sprouting experiment I tried, and I bought these cups to try it again. The last time I just used like Dixie cup or Solo cups, and had a few problems, but I learned from it, so we're gonna do this one. So basically, you'll soak the seeds in this one, and then dump them in here. There'll be holes, and it'll drain through. And then every day or every couple of days, you'll start a new batch, and the older batch will be growing in a lower container. That way, you have a perpetual growing system that's continuously making new sprouts for you every like 3 days. Because the problem with this one is you can only do one batch at a time. If you want to have like 5 batches going with these, you need 5 different jars. It's a modification of the fodder system people use for growing fodder for their livestock, mostly birds, chickens, and ducks.
They also ferment the livestock or the feed.
Yeah, similar. Yeah,
livestock or the chickens with that. I've seen a lot of people do
that. And then the last project we're going to be working on, probably be a couple months before we work on it, because I have to crawl down to the basement and run new electrical lines, is we're going to take the closet that's just there outside our bedroom door. It's by the front door. It's designed as a coat closet, but we don't really use it like that. Right now we got canned goods stored in it that we're gonna move around later. But anyway, what we're gonna do is put a hydroponics system in there. If you want to look up later, don't do it while you're watching this live stream. But if you want to look up on YouTube on Jack Spirko's channel, he has a indoor mini farm playlist. We're doing a system like that. So
much smaller.
Yeah, so it'll grow a lot of our indoor, or a lot of our herbs and lettuces and stuff like that, so we don't have to go to the grocery store. Lettuce per pound is more expensive than steak. So we want to try to grow all that stuff indoors. And a lot of people worry because this stuff and all the other gross stuff, you have to dispose of it every so often, the water that's mixed with this stuff. And normally it's not the best for the environment. You don't want to dump it down in the sewage. You don't want to dump it in one spot continuously in your yard, because it's so much fertilizer it'll start to cause issues of over-fertilizing. But we can dump the excess of this when we do water changes into the bioreactor, and all the mulch and the activated carbon or biochar we plan on putting in there, all that will absorb the excess nutrients from this and actually take a waste stream and turn it into something productive for us.